swore I would never do social selling or network marketing, right? I was like, I am not doing that. I'm not posting videos. And it was amazing because I kind of just unapologetically stepped into this and embraced it. And within that first year, I exceeded what I was making in corporate just from the online piece.
Welcome to the Freedom CEO podcast. It's about becoming the chief decision maker over your life in order to step into a life of freedom. From business, health, wealth, charity, and giving back to just doing life on your own terms. I am your host, Shay Invidiata. I am an award-winning activist, change maker, and a multifaceted impact entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in business, philanthropy, and health and wellness. In this space, I'm going to be bringing you insights, not just from me, but from incredible thought leaders around the globe to help you start making decisions towards living a life of freedom so you can live a life you love. Are you ready, guys? Because we are going all in.
Katie Tufte is a dynamic professional who transitioned from 8 years in corporate IT to successfully managing her family's hard money lending business. A top 1% leader in network marketing, she excels in building and leading large teams. Now, Katie is growing her business online through digital marketing and Master Resell Rights, bringing her additional revenue streams. Katie is also passionate about health and wellness, overcoming a decade-long struggle with breast implant illness, and recently removed her breast implants. Residing in Colorado, Katie values connections and embraces life's opportunities for growth and fulfillment, embodying a perfect blend of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal well-being. I think you're going to love today's episode. Welcome, Katie Tufte to the Freedom CEO podcast. I'm so happy, girl, to have you on today.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is a pretty cool episode, guys, because Katie and I have actually never met. This is one of these Instagram connections that bring a lot of value. We had a commonality where we both have explanted. And Katie actually saw me posting about an explant retreat, and she was like, I'm about to explant. And so that's where we first connected. And then almost like a year later, as you connect and follow and watch, Katie's in all of this cool stuff around multiple streams of income, which, I think is highly important. She's also a female, which is like, a woman badass in business, also in the real estate space, different than me. And so with that bit of a twist, I was like, girl, you got to come on. Not to mention as well, she's a mama of two. And so this girl, you are juggling multiple things. And I just know you're going to bring so much value to people today on how do you do it all? Why the importance of multiple streams of income? So before we dive into the goods, Katie, share a little bit of your journey, like your background. Were you always doing this? Possibly not. So bring us back to a bit of your journey before we dive in.
So I started out in the corporate world. I spent probably 8 years in corporate doing corporate IT security sales, nothing glamorous, but very, very male dominated. But I almost think I kind of had an edge in that space because I was a female coming in. I loved relationship building. So I was able to truly kind of thrive in that space, doing the whole typical, climbing the corporate ladder. And then I literally got really, really sick, and it hit me really fast to the point where I remember sitting at my desk with my arms crossed, my legs crossed under my desk. I was like, my head shaking. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. That was the first round of autoimmune issues that they ended up diagnosing me with. And come to find out, they said that I had Graves' disease, all of these stressors happening in my life. They were like, you need to slow down. So it was at that point that I kind of pivoted. I quit my corporate job. I had just gotten engaged at that point. And then my poor husband now, all these health issues started happening, right? But his dad actually is the one that owns this hard money lending company. And it was just his dad that was running this whole business. And so we kind of pivoted. I went and got my real estate license because it was a completely brand new industry for me. And I really started helping him take over what would now be the family business that my husband and I are starting to transition to. So, again, trying to slow down, but the reality is a month, they ended up removing my thyroid because they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. It was just doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, blood work after blood work. Things weren't stabilizing. So they said, you know what, we're just going to take out your thyroid and then maybe just stabilize you with medicine, right? So the month after I got my thyroid removed, I ended up getting pregnant with my little boy who is now 7. And before he even turned 1, I got pregnant again with my little girl that just turned 6. So, yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so now I've kind of pivoted and I've been in the real estate lending space for almost 9 years now, which is crazy to think. I love the idea of being able to work for yourself, passive income. A lot of this real estate lending stuff, it is very cyclical. So you have some amazing, amazing months and you have some months where there's gaps and there's maybe not as much going on as you hope. And so that's when I ended up jumping into the social selling space to kind of fill in those gaps financially. Sure. And it's interesting because I say interesting, but I swore I would never do social selling or network marketing, right? I was like, I am not doing that. I'm not posting videos and selfies and all of those things. But I sat back and I watched some of my good friends literally replacing their 9-to-5 income, working off of their phone and being able to be at home with their kids. And I was like, okay, I have to just get over this hurdle of I'm afraid of judgment. I'm afraid of not being good at something. You know, it's always scary when you start something brand new. Yes. And it was amazing because I kind of just unapologetically stepped into this and embraced it. And within that first year, I exceeded what I was making in corporate just from the online piece. And I was still doing the lending. So now our family was blessed with these multiple streams of income. And since then, I've now jumped into the digital marketing space. And so, but a lot of this is passive. You know, you do the work on the front end, you get all your systems in place. It's all still work. You know, it's never 100% passive with what I'm doing specifically, but it does allow you to be able to create your own schedule and have the flexibility to be with your kids, which is what I'm finding so many are looking for right now.
Totally. Well, thank you for sharing like this background of who you are. And, you know, I'm learning as well, you know, Katie and I still have not met, even though I was in Colorado a couple of weeks ago and we tried to make it happen and it just unfortunately didn't work, but I will be back and for sure we'll come and see you in person.
Perfect.
So I want to ask you a couple things because there's a couple phrases you said that I know probably a majority of people are going, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm going to come back with some other questions around pivoting into this online network marketing social space. So break it down for us. What is hard money lending?
Yeah. And actually, I'm surprised by the amount of real estate agents and mortgage brokers that aren't aware of hard money lending because it really can serve so many. So essentially, we work with people who are interested in doing fix and flips or fix and holds, or maybe need bridge loans. So they need to sell a property before they can purchase their next property. Right now in Colorado, the real estate market is insane. So there's a lot of people that need to come in and offer quote unquote cash in order to even have their offer looked at. So we help those people with these specific niche type of properties. We don't do primaries. There's tons of government regulations around doing primaries. So we kind of like to stay away from all of that. So yeah, we work with a lot of like foreclosed properties, properties that are considered distressed. So you can't necessarily get a traditional bank loan on them. It does cost more money to utilize hard money, but we close really quick. Our terms can be flexible. And instead of you being qualified on, say, your credit score or your personal finances, our collateral is more asset based. So we look at the actual property, the loan to value, the surrounding neighborhood and properties. And that's kind of how we assess if it is a good opportunity to use hard money or not.
And so just again, I love making things like stupid simple, right? Like for people. So instead of primary lending, which basically functions like the bank coming in and doing what we call a first mortgage, you guys function basically like a second mortgage on the property where you're coming in as a loan.
We are in first lien position. So basically how it works is if you were to come to me and you were to say, Katie, I found this distressed property. I would love to turn it into a rental property. The bank won't loan me on it because the property's not livable. We would loan you the money. We create the deed of trust, all of the loan docs, the normal loan package that you would have with the closing. So we are in first lien position. That's how we are 100% collateralized on our investment. You then go in, it's usually about a year note. So it is a short-term loan. Yep. You would go into the property, you would rehab it, do everything that you need to do, get tenants in there. And then you go back to your traditional bank and you say, I would like to refinance this property with a traditional, say, 15 or 30-year loan. And when you refinance with a traditional bank, that's how we get paid back.
Got it. Cool. And what right now is kind of like a rate that somebody would be paying to utilize that structure?
Yeah. So it kind of goes up and down based on one, if you are a brand new client of ours and maybe it's your first deal, we're starting to build our relationship. We usually charge around 3 points up front and 13% origination. Again, this is a short-term loan. If there's multiple projects and you become a good client and we're working a lot together, we can be more flexible a lot of it's based on the loan to value. So how risky this deal is, obviously the higher the loan to value, if we're going to loan you 90% of what the after rehab value is, that's considered a little bit more risky because if something should go wrong, there's not as much wiggle room. So that's considered high risk. That might be a higher percentage point. Sure. If you come in and it is a no-brainer, say it's 60% loan to value, you only need 60% of what this property is going to appraise at. Right. We feel a lot more safe with that. We can then work with you as far as terms go.
And if somebody is looking to, utilize this maybe like as an additional stream of income, they have, a stack of cash and going, okay, like, should I be investing this? Could I create a new revenue stream as like a business? Is this something that you guys have found is easier to get into? Like, how are you finding your clients or how are your clients finding you?
Yeah. So I know a lot of people, their eyes get really wide when I say 3 and 13, but I will tell you, we turn down deals every single week because we just don't have enough funds for the demand that we have. A lot of it is word of mouth. So we have certain real estate brokerage firms here in Colorado that are known for working with investors, working with clients who are looking to build their rental portfolio. And we build relationships with those real estate agents or even these mortgage brokers, and they kind of pass leads on to us. And then we continue to work with our smaller group of investors who are flipping properties and then they're done with one and they're looking for another one. And so the deals kind of naturally turn. When you say if somebody has a stack of cash and actually wants to jump into the hard money lending, it can be a very lucrative business. So we on average get about 16% return on our investment. So if you're looking at that versus like the stock market or some of these other options, it It's amazing. And again, it's in real estate. Worst case scenario, since we are in first lien position, worst case, we own that property.
Exactly.
We take it.
Yeah.
And so, and I'll tell you, in the 16 years that Steve, my husband's family, has been doing this, they've only had to take back 2 properties. And we've done hundreds of deals.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we actually we got approached to franchise the business. But my father-in-law is a little bit older, and he was like, it's a big commitment to franchise. I don't necessarily want to be that one-on-one hand-holding. A lot of franchises, you're then committed to them for a couple years, And so what we're doing instead, we're actually in the process of it right now, is we are creating an online course for those people who want to get into hard money lending. They want to get into the real estate space, create more passive income, but not necessarily own the properties. Or we have older people who are looking to maybe not put so much money in the stock market. They still want to, diversify their income stream, and they're interested in real estate. And so we're teaching people how to come in and literally become a hard money lender step by step.
I love that. And so guys too, everything's going to be in the show notes. If you're watching, Katie's Instagram handles are up. She's always in her DMs. So you can definitely connect with her in Instagram to ask questions and get on her list for when that course drops. Because if this is interesting for you, you're definitely going to want to get that. I had one more question I want to ask you around the hard money lending. Somebody who is considering to possibly move into this space, what do you guys advise as kind of like that base amount of money that you would need, that cash, in order to really have that flexibility to start doing these structures?
Yeah. And that's really specific to where you're living, right?
Sure.
Here in the US, you can go into a state like Kansas, for example, and have 100,000 and be able to purchase a property and rehab it.
Right.
You can't find anything here in Colorado for under 400. And that's, you've got 30 people all trying to grab that same property. And so, I would say it's how we started our business too. It was family and friends pooling funds together. We have about 14 million now that we have invested all in Colorado real estate. We like to do local properties so we can kind of keep our finger on it. I drive the properties. I see what they're doing, how they're progressing with their projects. So it's not like you simply lend somebody money and you wait for them to finish the project. But, I would say it's all about your market. What are you looking to get into? Is it single family? Is it, more condo type space? Because that's going to determine. And then honestly, like, for example, say you had 450,000, you could do what's called a self-directed IRA, where you could pull funds out of your retirement, move them into a self-directed IRA, and then use those funds to start your own hard money lending business. And if you use those 3 and 13 numbers, if you were to turn just one deal a year using 450,000, that's almost 70,000 in profit in 1 year on that one deal. And once you've done all the loan paperwork and the money's put to work, you sit back, you check in on them a couple times a month. You maybe drive the property once a month. And when that loan closes and you get paid out because they refinanced with a bigger bank, $70,000 in profit.
Yeah, which is incredible. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely and I wanted to just pick your brain with it too. When we first were just sending voice notes back and forth, I'm like, tell me more of what you were up to. Yeah. And being in real estate, regardless if you're in Canada or the United States, housing's not going anywhere. Housing is needed. And especially in Canada, we have a housing shortage and crisis. So this type of space of fixing up fixing up properties, right? This type of model is going to continue to be very, very lucrative. So when do you think you guys are dropping your course?
We're filming content right now because it's literally going to be filmed content, modules. We're kind of giving the back end secrets. We've created all of these resources that we run our business with. And with the course, you'll get access to all of that. We're also launching an online community of others who are looking to get into hard money lending. So everybody can walk alongside each other as they're going through the course and answer questions. But we're hoping in the next 30 to 45 days that we will be able to get this out. So
amazing. Cool. Well, stay tuned. That's coming down the pipeline. I'm probably going to jump into your course, and like learn from you guys. I think it's awesome. And in filling these gaps that you were saying through hard money lending, it really was the catalyst that brought you into online marketing, direct sales, network marketing, multi-level, like whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And as you were sharing your journey, you said that you just needed to get over that hurdle and not care about the judgment and what other people were going to think so that you could get in. And I want to ask you, how did you actually like coach yourself through that? Because it's really easy to say, just don't give a shit what other people think, right? Like I always say, like, what other people's opinions are of me is none of my business, and we always come up with these like kitschy little phrases.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to say that versus actually doing that. And there's something that goes on in your head to basically coach yourself through that process.
Yeah.
What was that for you?
So I tell my team right now, I'm always like, if you don't have your own belief, borrow mine. We have these incredible testimony pages, whether it's about the business or the products that you're selling. First of all, you have to have amazing products in order to have a thriving business. So if you don't believe in the products, if you're not using them, I hate to say it, but it's not really going to work, right? You need to actually be able to share what you're using and why you love it so much and how it's transforming your journey. And so when people first get started, I'm like, get into those testimony pages. Read about how people's lives are literally changing. And I know that sounds so dramatic, but it's true. Like there's some of these products right now that if you're more on the holistic side of things, and that's kind of when I jumped into the health and wellness, because I was on my own health journey. I was looking for something to help me feel better, to gain my energy back, to help with my brain fog. And when I found those products, I was just like, it wasn't about selling you anything. It was about you're sharing with me that you're dragging throughout the day, that your patience is thin with your kids, that you can barely, it feels like you're dragging yourself through the mud every day. Well, for what it's worth, I found something that has helped me progress through those same exact feelings. Right. It may or may not be for you, and that's okay. But if you're open to trying it, I really have something that I think could help you. And so it's about, again, not selling somebody, but sharing a product that you have this just unwavering belief in.
Yeah, I think it is very true. Like if you're not confident and you don't have the conviction really in what you're talking about, what you're using, what you're sharing, you're not going to attract other people to do it.
Yeah.
I think the other really big piece, even as I'm like, listening to you, you talked about like health, for you was part of that gateway into this, is a lot of people really need to understand like, what is their why? And oftentimes like their why is not big enough. Like it's not bigger than their fear of not doing it, And so if you have a why that is so big, it's like, in comparison and retrospect, it outweighs, quote unquote, like the fear, and the risk to not doing it is greater than taking that risk in just betting on yourself and trying it, because you're really anchored into your why, which is so important.
Yeah. And I always say it can't just be to make more money, right? Like that's great. We all want more money, but what is that money going to do for you? How is that going to transform your life? Like for me, a big part of it is in all honesty, we needed the finances. We needed that money, but it turned into so much more than that. It gave me the flexibility. I was a daycare kid. I was dropped off before school. I stayed at daycare after school. I wanted to be able to have my own schedule to where I could be at school to drop them off. I wanted to be able to walk them home from school after school, sit there and do homework with them, go by in the backyard and play soccer once we have everything done, be able to make dinner, not have this hustle and bustle that so many of us experience from like the 5 to 8 o'clock hour, and having income coming in where I can be more flexible with my traditional job. That opened up a whole new world for my family.
Totally.
So it's the vision of it. What is the money actually giving you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And also too, like, and you already described it. It's like, how do you want to feel? How do you want your days to flow, and creating a life by design, and a better vision for your own life and your own family, and really bringing in freedom into your lifestyle and in your finances.
Yeah.
For me, that's a lot around my own personal why, of being able to do what you want, when you want, and to the caliber, not just like going for dinners wherever you want. It's like having the best steaks,
yes,
having the highest quality water, right? Like, living extremely well versus not, right? So,
Yep, absolutely.
So Katie is like always on Instagram being like, I just made an extra few $1,000s while I was playing with my kids, or I woke up this morning to more money in my bank account. So let's move into this space of online marketing. I think it's no surprise to a lot of people that every day we become more digital forward, right? We even see what's going on with digital currency in our world, which is a whole other conversation, which I'm not pro for many reasons, because I think it strips our freedom completely.
I agree.
But we are moving in a digital era completely. And that means looking at like what we're doing in our businesses, even if we are like, I think about real estate, right? That's a very people in-person industry. But there is going to be ways of bringing in the digital component from a business functionality standpoint. So talk to me about, what are you doing right now? There's some new stuff happening as well in the digital marketing space, and why you decided to move in this direction.
So I know it's kind of all over social media right now. These courses that you can sell and jump into the digital marketing space. And what's interesting, Instagram and Facebook, the algorithms are so funny, right? Because like I shared, we were introduced to a company that helps us create an online course in the digital marketing space. So obviously I'm Googling things, I'm looking things up for my real estate lending course. All of a sudden I come across this program that literally was only a month or two old. It's called Roadmap to Riches with Master Resell Rights. And Master Resell Rights means you can then take the course, rebrand it as your own, and sell it to your audience as a way to learn how to brand themselves, create business automation like what you're speaking on, and literally so much more. And it's kind of taken Instagram and TikTok by storm right now. It's getting a little bit of backlash too. I feel like it's being twisted in how to actually use it. It's something that I'm kind of vocal about. I'm like, listen, this isn't just a course to resell the course.
Totally.
Are you actually taking the course, applying the course, and going out and creating your own digital product? That was the whole purpose behind the creators of this, was to really empower people, empower them to have the tools to go and make something bigger that's their own, and let's be honest, we are in a day and age where we silent shop everybody, right? So totally. When you and I first connected and I came across your reel and you were talking about your retreat, what was the first thing that I did? I went to your page. I scrolled, I watched a bunch of your videos, I read all about you, I clicked on any of your links. That's what we do. You had no idea that I was doing that, but that's what I was doing. And that's what so many people are doing. And so to bring it back to your comments about the real estate space, one thing that I know and love about realtors is that most are entrepreneurial mindset, right? Like you want to work for yourself, you're driven, you know that the work that you put in is going to be a direct correlation to what you get. But with that, it can be hard to be a one-man show, right? You're doing all of the things. So this course literally teaches you how to brand yourself. So when people go and they click on your site, you have a mission statement, you have colors, you have power statements, and you know how to actually have conversations that can convert people to clients and customers. But then it goes a step further. What if you had a way where you could lead capture, where people are like, oh my gosh, I like her. I love her energy. She is so knowledgeable. She's positioned herself as a leader and an expert in this space. Mm-hmm. And so you lead capture, you get their email address and your contact information. That automatically gets sent to your email campaign, where you're dripping on people. You don't have to manually send out emails to people. You have all of that built out into your system. It's a way for you to automate your business. So while you're out meeting new clients, showing houses, doing all of those things, these back-end business, these processes are already working and in play. So that way you're still on somebody's mind. When they're ready to buy a house or sell their property, they think of you because you're constantly dripping on them. So when I am sharing about this course and when I am having conversations, most big moments happen in my DMs. I love brainstorming with people. It's about, yes, you can sell the course and that's great, but what are you doing or what do you need help with that this course can teach you? What can you then go create to build more income streams? And if you come across somebody that also needs this knowledge, amazing. You sell them that course, you get 100% profit. Amazing. But it's so much more than just selling the course.
Conversations like this just light me up. And I hope you're loving today's episode too. My friend, can I ask a quick favor of you? Could you please hit the subscribe or follow button? You have no idea how much that helps this show grow. So discussions like this can reach others as well. And if you want to go the extra mile, please leave a review. Your thoughts and feedback mean so much to me. After all, this show is created for you. Okay, that's it. Let's get back to it. So, and again, just for clarity, what Katie is referring to is called the Master Resell Rights. And it's this new term, MRR, that you're seeing a lot of highlights on people's Instagram. All of a sudden it's like MRR and you're like, is that a vaccine? No, that's the wrong one. Like it's different. You know, it's like, okay, no, we're talking about marketing. We're talking about digital courses. And I would love for you to take an opportunity because I'll be honest, like, well, first, let me back up. I will tell you guys listening, Katie was the first person I actually saw doing this. And we were having conversation. I actually think in and around like before you actually even started sharing it, you had told me that you had found this and that you were looking at doing this. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, tell me more because I'm always open to a different multiple revenue stream coming in. And if it's in alignment, really, really key. If it's in alignment with me and what I do and the vision for my brand, because that's also the being authentic to your followers, right? Like you have a following and you can't just sell everything, number one, and showing up out of left field. It can feel very much like you're just in it for the money, right? And so Katie was the first person that I saw talking about this on Instagram, and I had a lot of questions. We spent a lot of time in the DM to the point where I was like, can we get over to Instagram or to WhatsApp? Because we keep getting cut off in voice notes and like, we got to bring this over to WhatsApp so I can send you like a 5-minute voice note that you can listen to on double speed.
Yeah.
So then it just like blew up on the internet. And I reached out to Katie being like, there's somebody I know who's, you know, doing this online. Do you know this person? 2, is this the same thing? Which it ended up being the same thing. And like, if you guys have paid attention in July, August, like mid-July, but really in August, this thing exploded. And I'll be honest, I was going to buy it because I looked through your site, right? Katie sent me her link and I was like, wow, there's a lot of really good content here. There's a lot of good teaching modules. That would be fantastic. And there's a business opportunity. So value for me, but also value on the output for other people. Cool. That seems like a good win-win. Then when this whole thing blew up, I like paused. I was like, let me just observe right now because I'm not already in it. And I don't want to be seen as in it for the wrong reasons, right? So I just kind of took a step back and I was like, I want to break that down with Katie on here because I think it's really important for people to hear from you what you're not doing or like some of the, because a lot of influencers that have 50,000, 100,000 followers have really utilized this as a vehicle to make a shit ton of money. Like it's real, like a lot of money really quickly. And then what? It's just going to drop off. So what's your advice really to somebody who doesn't have even 10,000 followers as to realistically, how do they make money from this for themselves with smaller followers, and how are you coaching them on what not to do?
Yes, I love this question. So I actually started a brand new Instagram page. So I did not come in with some of these women that had, 100,000 followers and now all of a sudden, they're making $50,000 a month. Well, of course, you have a captive audience that is like, tell me all of the things I want to do what you're doing, right?
Right.
And so one of the reasons why so many people are drawn to this is it's only a $500 buy-in and you only have to make one sale and you have your complete investment back. And then anything you make above and beyond that is literally profit, goes directly to you. And so I actually found a need for a smaller community. This course comes with a larger community where there's thousands of people who have jumped in, and that's amazing. I love going in there if I need tech type questions answered or a link isn't working or something like that. Because there's so many people with so many backgrounds. But what I ended up doing is creating a smaller group on Facebook that is for women that are truly looking to turn this into a long-term income stream, not just a flash in the pan. Hey, I'm going to sell a few courses to some people, make a couple $1,000s and move on. So having that smaller community where we can brainstorm, mastermind, share ideas, tips and tricks, what's working, what's not working. What I've loved recently is women are sharing what they are now creating with this knowledge. What tools and digital products are they now building out for their niche audience? We have teachers, we have there's stay-at-home moms is a big one, but we have all of these different real estate agents, different niches where now they're finding needs for their audience and they're building out digital offerings specific for their audience, which I love. That's again what it's all about. So I always encourage people to, yes, promote the course. You have to. It's literally a gold mine of information. And I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but they're coming out with a 2.0 and you get free access to all of it. And they're only upping their business savvy type of content in there. But I'm really encouraging women, don't feel like you need to do all of the things because it teaches you everything from Instagram to Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Etsy, like all of the things. And that is very overwhelming for a lot of people that are just jumping in. I'm like, don't do that. Like pick one or two things that you really can thrive in and that you enjoy doing and just hone in on it. Like I feel like 10 years ago, there was a huge wave of Pinterest and it kind of died down for a little bit. And now there's like this huge Pinterest wave happening again. Right. Same with Etsy and all of these digital offerings. I actually, on my Instagram page, The Financial Freedom with Katie, I'm doing a series of how this niche works with Roadmap to Riches with Master Resell. So I've done network marketing. I've done real estate. I just did one with teachers that was huge. Wow. I had all these teachers reaching out to me being like, oh my gosh. And then in the caption, I actually listed out 12 different ideas. If you're a teacher that you could take this course, learn how to do all of these things and create all of these resources, put them in your Stand store, which is a platform that you can use to sell digital offerings. And it's all passive. Like I literally wake up most mornings with notifications. Somebody's bought your Reel Challenge. Somebody's bought your instant content guide. Somebody's bought your whatever. And I spent the time doing that work on the front end. And now I have all this business automation set up. And now I can do what I love, which is relationship building and masterminding with people who want to get into this, but aren't really sure where to start.
Totally. And, I think my biggest piece of advice would be is, yes, there's an opportunity to resell this and make 100% profit. But before you sell it to anybody, you need to use it yourself first.
Yes. And actually take the course.
Yes.
I found that I'm now at the point where I have women coming to me and they're like, I bought it from somebody and she's completely ghosted me. I'm not going to name names. Like there's no shade being thrown at anybody, but some of these larger accounts, you can imagine the influx of messages and people buying them, but then they're not actually getting support from these women because we only have so many hours in the day. Like you can only respond to so many messages in a day, right? And so I'm getting these, help me, what do I do? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do now. I'm not getting any support from the person that I purchased from. And so I always say, think about that. Like, who are you? Do you have a relationship? Do you feel like you could honestly have these conversations with the person that you purchased from? Because it isn't just a one done type of thing. It is for a lot of people. A lot of people are treating it that way. That's just not how I am. And then two, when I always encourage people to, if you're talking to somebody about the course, ask them questions about the course. I can't tell you how many times people are like, well, I asked her, but she hasn't even taken the course yet. She's just trying to sell it. I'm like, stop doing that. You're giving us all a bad rap.
Totally. Yeah. And that's like where for me, I was like, I need to just like take a step back and just let things settle down a bit. But I could never tell you to buy something if I've actually not used it myself, and really think about it as a way of what skill do you have? What information do you know? What results have you had in your life? Because many people think like, well, I don't know what I would be able to sell, what course I would be able to do. And guys, like I'll tell you right now, I'm in this myself as well. I'm going to be rolling out all kinds of stuff in Q4 online for this very reason. So this is why for me personally, this was also attractive, what I was seeing from Katie. Yes, there's an opportunity from a business revenue standpoint, but I was like, this can really help me lay my own foundation and going, okay, there's so many different skills. You've done so much, your experiences, you've gotten results in different areas of your life. And all of that is transferable to become teachable, to then have it become duplicatable, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you've got a course that is bringing you in that revenue. And so that's what I would encourage you, that if you're thinking about this as a new revenue stream, it starts with you first. And going, how am I going to utilize this before I turn around and tell anybody else that they should buy this from me?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think I'm seeing more now conversations with true business owners. I love this conversation. I was talking with this woman. She lives on a big piece of property and they have this big barn. And she's like, I really want to turn it into a wedding venue.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, that is amazing. And so she's using this course to learn how to brand herself on social media, learn how to put out content that's going to attract people, learn how to create the lead capture, the email campaign. She's not even using it to resell it. She's using it to build out her vision of this wedding venue that she's trying to create. I mean, you go out and you can spend thousands of dollars on courses that teach you how to do all of this. Yeah. And so people that are truly using it for business and not necessarily, I'm just going to resell it, they're finding a lot of value in just applying the knowledge that it's teaching you.
Totally. Mm-hmm. I love it. So let me ask you, when you think of, there's so many different things online to be like part of, network marketing. what do you think like the future really is heading towards in this space? Like if you're looking to come online and add a new revenue stream besides the Master Resell Rights course, right? Like going beyond that, what do you recommend for people? Like in an industry standpoint that you think is really going to continue to like lead this space forward?
Yeah. So we've seen a whole shift even in network marketing. A lot of people think of network marketing as you have to build teams and you have to be on calls every night and you have to push all these products. And there has been such a shift as now this affiliate marketing has really started to take off. I always say, well, what do you want? Like, what are your goals? Do you love community? Because a lot of moms, honestly, they're looking for community. They want to surround themselves with women who also have big goals and big visions and want to go out and create additional income for their family. And so network marketing can be an amazing tool for that. And then also just genuinely when you can do it as affiliate marketing too. Now, a lot of companies like the one that I'm partnered with, you don't have to build a team if you don't want to, and you can still make significant income. And so that's what I share. It's all about finding where you fit in and making it your own. It doesn't have to replace your 9 to 5. Like imagine $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. What could that do for your family? That's a couple of vacations. That's maybe paying for your kids' sports. Maybe as a mom, that's getting your hair done and your nails done and maybe buying something new for yourself. And I feel like a lot of us moms, we go into stores and we spend hundreds of dollars on our kids and we're walking around in clothes that we've had for 7 years. For a lot of us, it's finding a little bit of wiggle room for our finances. And I do think that the difference between affiliate marketing and network marketing is affiliate marketing is a one-time sale, then it's done. You get paid on it once and you're done. With network marketing, and you choose to actually build a team and build a true business around it, it's residual. So you get paid month after month on it. And so that's super powerful too. You could go on vacation for a week or maybe be going through something in life, have to step back, and your business can still be running for you and income still coming in. So that's why a lot of people choose network marketing over affiliate marketing, but now they're kind of blending together a little bit. Yeah. And I do think that it's still, digital marketing is huge. And I think that that is always going to be there. People are really tapping into their creative juices, and especially if you follow the suggestion of niching down, people create resources for their specific target audience.
Right.
But I do think that like my long-term, it's a blend. And I can definitely say that it's the course with the real estate course, using the skills taught inside the Roadmap to Riches with Master Resell Rights to build out all my different businesses. And continuing to grow this huge community of women looking to work on their health and work on their finances and build a business within network marketing.
Totally. So I want to ask you about some tools because, there's so many different social media platforms, and your answer is not necessarily right or wrong or better than the other. But I want to ask you, like, what platforms do you utilize that are working well for you?
Yeah. So just from like posting content and stuff, or
where are you on LinkedIn as well? Yeah. Are you doing Pinterest? Is it only Instagram? Because it's like, oh my God, do I need to be on all 20 apps? Yeah. And the answer is, I always say wherever you're going to consistently show up is what you should use. Yeah. But there are different platforms that, depending on your business, could serve better. And so within your business, what platforms are you finding are the strongest for you? So I live mostly in Instagram. I tried the whole TikTok world. I never really gained a whole lot of traction, or the conversations never became meaningful. Like they were very high, like superficial, and I could never I feel like I couldn't connect with people there.
Where Instagram, I'm able to actually foster relationships, build community. Like me and you, I feel like I know you even though we've never met in person. Facebook, a lot of my stuff from Instagram just flows over to Facebook. But if I'm honest, Facebook is more family oriented.
Sure.
So it's a lot of my personal family stuff where I'm not afraid to then, like on Instagram, I created a business account. I am not afraid to show up and talk about business every day. If you're not interested in my business, then you don't follow me that's kind of the difference. Pinterest really interests me, but I will tell you, I'm a little intimidated. These gurus and experts saying that you need to make 12 to 15 pins a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this seems like so much. And then for the real estate space, we are going to be tapping into LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot during my corporate days.
Right.
And my husband, who is also in IT, uses LinkedIn. I think that it's a great way to network with professionals. Not that there's not professionals on other platforms, but specifically, so that's kind of real estate. We're going more LinkedIn. I am going to be doing Instagram for real estate because that's just who I am and I love it. And I love being able to be creative with my content. But then my digital marketing and network marketing, I pretty much live on Instagram.
Okay, amazing. And Katie, if we were to pick up your phone right now, because most of us, not most of us, but a lot of us who are, especially like realtors, but also in the online space, like our phones are in close proximity. But if we were to pick up your phone right now, what would be 3 apps that you couldn't live without that help you run your business?
Yes. Canva.
Okay.
I love Canva. Instagram. And then System.io, which I say that with hesitancy because I think I'm moving away from System.io right now. Okay. But because I have all my business automation set up through System.io. So I lead capture, the contacts are there. I've set up email campaigns. So I have email campaigns for my network marketing business. I have campaigns for my digital marketing space. Depending on what resource you purchase, you get put into a different campaign for my Master Resell. And then there's going to be an email campaign for our real estate course. So it's really easy. It all lives in one space. You can automate your emails and how it all works in one platform.
Okay. And because we already know that you love Instagram, let's switch out that one. So Canva, System.io, and what's the third?
I use Lensa, which is a photo editing app. Not too much, but I don't go and get professional photos taken a lot. But I feel like there are so many free resources right now that you can take your own photos with our phones and maybe blur the background or lighten the images. Like there's no reason that people should be posting dark, blurry photos at this point, know? And I love that. If you're on a smaller budget and you're doing things on your own, there's so many free apps out there that you can utilize to Canva to create all the pretty graphics, the templates for your digital offerings, all of that kind of stuff. Lensa for your photo editing, and then System.io to help you automate your business.
Amazing. I love that. And then the last question I want to ask is from like a structured time management standpoint. I think a lot of the reason people get overwhelmed about jumping into the online space is like all of this content I now need to be creating. And it feels like it's all the time, right? Like you're really good at it. Sometimes like Katie's like posting twice a day and maybe even more. Like you're just always in my feed, which means you're always posting content. I'm like, girl, she's amazing. So are you allocating time blocking each day to create content? Are you batching content, which batching for maybe some that don't know, that simply means like you would dedicate 5 hours every Wednesday and you look at the week or the month and you would create all that content. That's batch working. And then you just roll it out that upcoming week. So give us the secrets behind what you're doing from that standpoint.
Yeah. And I have another tool I just thought of now that you said it. So I do batch content. So I'm home a couple days that I work from home a couple days a week, and I will film. This sounds overwhelming. Don't compare yourself to me, because again, we all have different goals and we're all starting at different places, but I'll probably film 7 or 8 reels that day. And if you think about it, I've been doing the shorter, like 7-second ones.
Right.
And I tell people, I'm like, don't worry about perfection. And if you're just starting out, don't try to do the lip syncing ones. I'm like, you should never, it takes you more than 3 or 4 takes to shoot one, move on to the next. Like, you're spending way too much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is, when I am on social, I am very, I'm very cautious to not just sit and scroll. I think a lot of us get caught in that game of scrolling. So I'm always very mindful. And when I'm scrolling and relationship building and commenting and doing all of those things, I'm also gathering content ideas. And so I save reels that I'm like, oh, this one, I could use this sound clip and it could relate to this. And I save it. And so then now it's that little mini ribbon.
Yes.
You know, the little icon that I'm speaking about. So then you can go into your saved, and everything that you've saved is right there. I look for trending audios, and I look for simplicity, and I'll batch content them. And I will tell you, I usually post 2 or 3 reels a day between my accounts.
Yes.
That's a lot.
There.
That's a lot for a lot of people. But I've been doing this for 3 years. Like, I literally, when Reels first came out, I remember my last network marketing company I was with at corporate, I trained on social media. And I was like, okay, everybody, raise your hand if you've ever heard of Reels. And like 2 people raised their hand. And I was like, mark my words, in the next couple weeks, you guys are going to start seeing more and more Reels. It's like when they launched stories. And I was like, this is so stupid. 15-second little clips. Who's going to watch stories? And now that's all I watch, is I'm like scrolling through people's stories.
Totally. Isn't it?
Yeah. And so, but you look at my first reels, they are embarrassing. Like, I am like, oh my gosh, talk about just jumping in and trying. So that is one of the things. You're always going to feel nervous. You're never going to feel ready. Your first reel is always going to be the worst. It's going to only get better and better. But as far as time blocking, I batch my content, and then I use Chat GPT. And if I write out a caption that's super powerful that I really like, I will go into Chat GPT and I'll say, I am a top leader in the network marketing space. My target audience is women aged 30 to 45. Please rewrite this caption, but with new power statements, new emojis, and a captivating call to action at the end. So it'll spit it out, and then I'll say, try again, remove the fluff. Like, if I always modify it a little bit. I don't typically just copy and paste straight from what Chat GPT does, but it allows you to use a caption that you've already written. Yeah. And if you have a similar piece of content, it'll reword it all for you. And then there you go. There's your next caption. You don't have to sit there thinking for 30 minutes about what you want to say.
I love that. Like, genius. And I mean, you're hearing more and more of people. It's not just utilizing Chat GPT, but it's training it and asking better questions so that it understands you better, so that it can then really deliver value to your audience. So I love that you shared that you are using that, because I think some people are like hesitant. Some people, I think, feel like they're cheating. Yeah. Right. Where it's kind of, if you look at, we'll use maybe like Photoshop, for example, right? In the beginning, when people are like enhancing a photo or like removing something from a photo, you could say it as the same thing, but really you're just making your work more efficient. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to.
Well, and women are always like, I just don't get ready every day. Like, I can't film every day. And I'm like, I put on mascara and that's it most days. Yeah. But I put a filter on there that kind of smooths out my lines, and I don't even care. Like, so it's not like you have to get all dolled up and you have to be all perfect. Like, you can use those tools to help make your life easier, so you don't feel like you have to get completely dolled up every day just to shoot a 7-second reel, you know?
Totally. And also, you know, I'll make a little plug for this too. I actually just dropped an episode, number 37, with a supermodel, world supermodel, and another, she's famously known on Instagram as the holistic beauty coach. You actually might know her, out in Beverly Hills, and talking all about natural beauty is truly the new sexy. This is no longer like a hashtag we're trying to adapt, but in all things around being careful and cautious and conscious around what we're putting on our bodies, what we're putting in our bodies. Even like me, like if you're watching right now, you can do laundry on my forehead. Why? Because you can see my wrinkles. I have not put Botox or fillers in my body in now over a year, which I'm 38. I started doing that when I was 25. And when I removed my implants in 2022, I had a really even further hard conversation with myself being like, okay, yeah, but I removed my implants, but I can still do Botox, right? And I couldn't bring myself to do it in the beginning. It was like, Shay, like WTF, like, and if you go down the rabbit hole of what is Botox and what you're actually putting in and injecting into your forehead, which is basically your brain, it's like, that's no bueno. It's like not good. And so I'm going on this little tangent to say how you are, how you show up today is perfect. It's imperfectly perfect. Like we always don't like something about us, but when you get more comfortable about being, yeah, this is me, this is who I am. And yes, doing something simple. I use certain filters on Instagram as well that are natural looking, that like you said, just smooth out a little, like if I were to wear foundation versus actually putting on foundation, but I think it's the more women like yourself are just showing up online and you don't look like you just are going to go do a photo shoot, but your hair some days looks better than the other. Sometimes you look more rested than others. It gives other women permission to just show up online and be who they are. And we should be celebrating that more amongst women.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I will say that the reels and even me showing up in my stories like that, the days that I am not completely put together and I allow myself to be more vulnerable, you are more realistic, and it's more, people feel more comfortable coming out and speaking to you because you're a real person and you're putting yourself out there, 100%. So I think it's huge.
Yeah. I love it. Katie, I mean, we could continue to talk about all things business. It's always something I'd love to speak about. In kind of closing, is there anything that you want to share further that you think would be helpful for somebody that we might not have touched on yet?
I would just say there are so many options. There's so many options for people out there that don't be afraid to try something. And if it doesn't work, you pivot and you move on to something else, and it doesn't make you a failure. You did nothing wrong. I can't tell you how many times within my own businesses that I've gone in on something. I'm like, this is it. This is what's going to make it, 10X. And it's completely flopped. Right.
Yeah.
And so, but what you do is you just pivot, you try something else, you continue to move forward until you find something that works. And I think that people get just so paralyzed in the fear of what if it doesn't work, because they think it's embarrassing, right? Or they think that people are going to judge them because they tried and it didn't pan out like they thought. But in reality, what's going to happen 10 years from now? And you look back and you wish you would have just started and you wish you would have just tried. And so there's so many resources. There's so many people you can reach out to. You guys can always reach out to me and have conversations. Like I said, I love brainstorming and kind of seeing what would be a good fit. And so explore your options.
I love it. And I also want to ask you, I'm going to bring Katie back on to specifically just come on the Naked series, which is talking to women and their journey around removing their breast implants. How did you feel though? Like, give me the short, because we talked about it. You shared, about removing your thyroid. You were diagnosed with autoimmune. In removing your breast implants, obviously you can't get your thyroid back, but did any of this clear up for you? How are you feeling now post surgery?
It has been life-changing. And I say that with all honesty. I hesitate a little bit. I feel like I've had quite a few people following my journey, and they're reaching out to me saying, I don't know if this is the right decision. I have two good friends right now that in the next 2 weeks, they're both getting them removed. And they're like, Katie, tell me I'm making the right decision. That's a lot of pressure to have on you. And all I can do is share my experiences. But what I will say is I remember waking up from surgery and I could take a deep breath. It was the most bizarre feeling. And the nurse was like, we actually hear that a lot. The surgeon that I went to, he's explanting right now for 3 to 4 women a week that are having issues.
Wow.
And so my anxiety, my stabbing chest pains, my tightening of the chest, I've lost 30 pounds since I got removed. And I think a lot of it is inflammation in my body. I actually feel good. I have the energy to go out and do all of the things again. So even if the only thing that changed was that I lost some weight and now I can show up with my kids better because I have the energy to go and run in the backyard and go on bike rides and do all of the things, that in itself would have been worth it. And so there's been a lot of progress. I had them for 14 years. So it obviously takes a lot of time. It's only been 7 months now since I had them removed. But I feel so much better. It really is insane how much of a difference it has made.
Totally. Oh, I love hearing that. And very similar. That was my first, my first notice of what was different was my ability to take such a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was just sharing with somebody actually yesterday that I'm a scuba diver and I'm a free diver. And so free diving is basically scuba diving with no tank on the back, which means I'm the tank. My oxygen is all I have inside. So my capacity to take a breath in is extremely important. And I got licensed in, or my certification, I should say, in free diving before I removed my implants. And so that for me was like, the first thing I noticed, I was like, wow, I can like a pelvic floor deep breath, like all the way down where it used to kind of stop like at my belly button. I felt, I don't know if you feel the same where it was like, I felt I was taking a deep breath, but it was like a half deep breath, So interesting that you also went through the same. Like I said, I'm going to bring you on for just that because there's so many questions that I think are so important for women to also hear. And the more we share our stories, the more women go, that's interesting. I have that too. Or this is how I feel, but I've never thought about my implants that might be impacting and causing this in my body. So I'm grateful for you sharing and your story and showing up online in such a passionate and powerful way that you do. I cannot wait to come and meet you in person at some point.
Yes.
And before I let you go, you're on the Freedom CEO podcast for many obvious reasons. But I would love to just ask you, when you think about being the CEO of your life, not of your business, because you are a CEO of your businesses, how has taking ownership over your decisions brought you freedom?
That's such a heavy question. I mean, it could go so many directions. I have so many thoughts going through my head right now.
Go for it.
How have my decisions brought me freedom?
Yeah, you taking ownership over your decisions.
Yeah. I think that it's allowed me to step into a whole other version of myself, first of all. I think if I would have continued on the corporate path, that I would just be kind of fulfilling somebody else's goals of mine or goals that they've set for me rather. And this has really allowed me to take ownership of my own finances, of my own world, have the flexibility to do so many things that I never thought possible. It's scary, but liberating at the same time, jumping in and, being your own boss, but it's very rewarding, I guess. Like I said, I have so many thoughts going through my head.
No, I love it though. I love it. And I mean, you can keep answering if you've got more that you want to share. This is your power question, power answer.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know.
Okay, well, we'll save it. Save it for the next time you're on the
Perfect.
on the next episode, because I will maybe then ask you the same question at the end.
Yeah, I love it.
Katie, thanks so much for being here with me today, and look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into the Freedom CEO podcast. If you got value out of today's show, I would love for you to leave a review, as it will help my show reach other people as well. You know what to do. Download this episode, click the like and subscribe button. If you feel like spreading more love, hop over to Instagram and share today's show in your stories. Remember to tag Shane Vidiata and the Freedom CEO. My DMs are always open, so drop me a line. I'd love to connect. Until next time, keep owning your decisions to live a life of freedom. Live a life you love.